Hey everybody, welcome to Live Coding with Jesse, and I'm Jesse, and my beard decided not to stream with us today, so I have a face. I've forgotten what it looked like. Anyway, today we're going to do something that is very new to me, and that's unit testing. So if you've seen a lot of the streams, then you'll probably remember me admitting this several times and being called out for it, that we do have testing set up. I just don't write the testing. Oh no, Noble and Savage is gone now. They were only here for the beard, I guess. Oh well. My coworkers thought I should just shave half a beard. That would have been the best of both worlds, I guess. Maybe I'll try it. I'll try it next time. It shouldn't take me too long to grow a beard again. That's probably a month and I can get it nice and bushy again. But my wife's really happy about it. She'll be happy. I just hope my kids recognize me. Sometimes the little ones, like, they freak out a bit if I shave my beard. So we'll see later on when I go home. Let's see. I was going to say something. What was I going to say? Oh, I have a lot of updates. So I've been working on the site. So I didn't stream the last 2 days. I worked from home the last 2 days. And to be entirely honest with you, I was feeling pretty depressed. I haven't worked out in a while. And I just was feeling depressed. And when I'm like that, it's really hard. Anybody that has depression, you know, it's really hard to interact with people and do things. So I would just think, like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to stream about today? And I just couldn't think of a topic to stream about. And the time just ticked by and I didn't do it. So today I had to come in for meetings. I got a haircut. So like I did things today that helped me to feel better. And so anyway, I apologize for not streaming. I could have found time to stream, but anyway, hopefully I can get back on my workout routine and kind of get back to normal with things. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to do a stream, but it's not going to be about this project. Tomorrow will be, we're going to work on, Alex Castillo and I are going to work on a brain-computer interface with JavaScript. So we're still trying to get the headset that I purchased working. So we're working on like that connection with how to get the data from Bluetooth and get it into a format that we can use, JavaScript to do things with, basically. So we'll see. Hopefully that'll go well. I haven't decided whether I'll stream that on my channel or on freeCodeCamp's channel. If you're interested in that, please subscribe to my channel. The link's down below, just so you don't miss it. I haven't really talked to Quincy about whether or not it's cool if I do that on freeCodeCamp's channel, so we'll see. I'm sure he'd be okay with it. Alright, but enough talk. Let's get to the code. And I haven't taken my G Fuel yet. So I actually have G Fuel and coffee, so I'm going to be switching off. As always, G Fuel, I'm open to a sponsorship deal. And I mean, you need to get on this. There's 28 viewers here, G Fuel. You're missing out. And also, my L-theanine, which is supposed to help with brain function and stuff like that. So now that I've properly enhanced my brain with these things, let's get started. Hey, Nikki the Beard is gone. Yeah, I do want to say what's up to everybody in the chat. I see a lot of you are saying hello. Noble and Savage says, I can see why your wife snagged you, though. I always appreciate your comments. They're always very entertaining. one question I do want to address. So Siberian says, do I have to watch the other projects to be able to follow along with this one? No, you do not. So the projects are, you don't have to watch one project or the other. So I try to do a good job of starting from scratch each time. And yeah, and actually the first projects may not be the best to watch anyway, because they'll be, some of the stuff's outdated. You know, they've come out with new versions of the things that we used. So I don't want to say they're entirely useless, because we do cover a lot of things that are pretty standard and don't change. But if you had to pick to watch something, I'd say watch the newer, whatever the latest project we're working on. It'd probably be the best to be able to get, you know, the information that you could use immediately to help you in your projects. Brian says Adderall. I don't have Adderall. I've never tried Adderall. I've heard things about it, but I've never tried it myself. Okay. I did want to show you all that I made a playlist for this project, and I know a lot of you have been requesting this for a long time, and I haven't done it. It's just pure procrastination. I could have made time to do it. It just wasn't a priority for me, so I finally did it. So now you can see all of Project 5 videos, and I put it so that the day 1 shows up first, and it goes in order like that. I think this will help for new people who want to watch them in order. So for those of you who have already seen them and want to see the latest one, it'll be a little odd because you have to scroll down, but the latest one comes up like on the front page of freeCodeCamp anyway. So it shouldn't be too hard to see that. So anyway, this is now on the playlist. I'm still going to keep that long playlist that has all the live coding with Jesse stuff in there. People are probably used to that. I'm sure some people, you know, have saved that playlist. So anyway, I have it set up so that it should automatically add the videos to this playlist every time I do a new video. So we won't forget anything. Everything should be there. So I'm going to see after I do this video if this stream that we're doing now automatically goes there or not. Hopefully it does. But that's one project. I think I have a playlist for project 4, and I want to get the other projects done soon, so everything will have a separate playlist. And we already have, will be video 51 for this project. This is insane. A lot of videos. Nikki asks, why no YouTube dark theme? For this YouTube thing, I'm on the freeCodeCamp account, and I keep it with the light theme. I don't remember why I did. There was some reason why I kept it with the light theme. Maybe so I just tell it apart. Because so this is in Chrome. In Chrome Canary, I'm logged into my own YouTube account, and that is on the dark theme. So it does help me, because I don't want to accidentally like reply to comments as freeCodeCamp and stuff like that. So helps me keep it straight. But I'm gonna close that since we don't need that anymore. And let's see. Let's go. Brian says Adderall helps him a lot. Now, let me know if I'm wrong on this, but you normally can't get Adderall unless it's prescribed for something, correct? I can't, legally, like, I can't just get Adderall to say, like, hey, I want to, you know, stay up and do a lot of coding, right? My pharmacist wouldn't be cool with that. Let's see. Unit testing. That's right. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, let me make sure I start up ngrep and give you all the link. So we won't necessarily be doing that much with it in terms of like any front end stuff actually changing, but you could maybe see some of the changes that I've done on the site, and you know, mess around with the site on your own. Someone asked, why are we talking about Adderall? It just got brought up. So anyway, yeah. So I don't. Brian says you have to have ADD or ADHD. I don't have either one of those, so I guess Adderall is not for me. I'm really sorry. I'm having trouble with this name, but Przemysław. I'm sorry. Let me know how that's pronounced, because I'd really like to get it right. But anyway, they ask, have you ever used Docker for your projects? I tried using Docker, maybe at least a year ago, maybe almost 2 years ago. And I started to work with it, and then I had some projects come up that were like tight deadlines, and so I just kind of set it aside because I wasn't good enough with it yet that I could do this project, and I never picked it back up. I'd really like to learn more about Docker and use it, but at this point my Docker skills are not good enough for me to work with on a real project. Okay, so let me give a very quick summary of what I've done in the last few days. You can always go to the GitHub repo, links in the description, and check out the last few commits to see what I've done. Inside the Matrix says your VS Code has an update, bottom left. All right, cool. I'm not going to run the update right now, just for time reasons. I mean, usually they're really fast, but I just kind of want to get started. But thank you for letting me know. I will run that update maybe later. Okay, so I've added this Travis file. What was it? YAML. That's how you say it, right? For YML files, the YAML file. Anyway, I've added this in here. If you're not familiar with Travis, look up Travis CI. It's for continuous integration. Basically, it links in with. Sorry, it links. I got distracted reading the live chat. It links in with GitHub, so that every time we push code to GitHub, it runs tests before that that commit actually goes through. So it's kind of another layer of checking, right? Because potentially I'm really the only one committing, so it's maybe a little bit of overkill right now, but I wanted to have that extra layer as a safeguard. But then also, because we did that, we have Travis, we're able to hook up what was it, Greenkeeper. So Greenkeeper is a Greenkeeper bot, something like that. Greenkeeper will look at our package JSON file, and anytime there's an update to one of the packages we have in there, it will either auto update by automatically submitting a pull request with the update, or if it's really out of date and it might cause breaking changes, then it may just kind of alert. But that way we don't have to keep up with all the updates ourselves. We'll automatically get pull requests with those updates. So I had to use Travis to be able to do that. It probably didn't have to be just Travis. I'm sure other systems like Travis would have worked, but we had used. I'm using Travis on a side project. So Harshit, who's in the live chat frequently, but it's too late in his time zone to watch right now, and he's done a lot of work on these other projects. He set it up in the side project, so I just kind of took what he did and tried to adapt it. So basically, I have the unit test running, but I don't have the end-to-end test running. So I ran into some issues with the end-to-end test, mainly due to trying to run a headless browser with Travis. And I decided that it's not really important right now, and I needed to just move on and get some stuff done. So we're going to go back to it and at some point. But for right now, I thought, you know what? We don't really have test coverage on all of our components, not even close. So if we're going to have this set up, let's write some unit tests. Also had a request from somebody on Twitter about doing unit tests. So I said, all right, let's do it. So that's what we'll be doing today. And what else did I'm sure I worked on some other things that I'm forgetting. I know I did a lot of work on the router, adding new routes, making sure links work. So there's a lot more pages that work now. Cleaned up a ton of data on the WordPress side of things, just kind of combining things that were all separate that didn't need to be separate, making sure the slugs were correct. So doing a lot of that kind of work, which is not really fun. It's just really kind of time consuming and needs to be done. So I don't really like to stream that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's first just check out some of the tests that we have right now. So I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff. We are going to use Enzyme and Jest. So as far as I know, from what I've looked up the last few days on unit testing. Oh, cool. We have a question about explaining what unit testing is. I'll do that right now. Let me start my timer. There we are. So 25 minutes of code, then I'll go back to the live chat and answer questions. So a unit test, especially in the context of React, would be like you're testing one component. All right, or one, if it wasn't React, you could test like one function, right? So you're not having this entire page and then rendering the whole page and seeing how it works. You're just saying like, okay, like if I give this component these props, this should happen, and the test just checks to make sure that that actually happens. So for each thing that you have, each component, each piece of a component, you want to write a test. Ideally, the way you're supposed to do it, you write the test first, and the test fails, and then you make the test. You change your code so that it passes the test. So you think about what are all the things I want this code to do. You put it all into the test, and then your code's good once it passes all the tests, and you make sure you have test coverage because you wrote the test first. Now we've already done a lot of code without testing, so we're gonna have to go back and write the tests. Usually when you do it like that, your tests aren't as good, but that's where we're at. So maybe moving forward we'll start doing tests first. At first when we started this project, I was on a much tighter timeline, and then things changed, and now I have more time. So now we can work on testing. So let's see what tests we have first. Since I have the index page open here, so let me make some space and open this page, and then there we are. That's not what I wanted. So let's do index. All right, so here's the test that we have for the index page. And now this is not a complete test. This is just the start of the test that we have. So, I didn't explain what Jest and Enzyme is. So Jest is a testing, I don't know, what do you call it, framework, a testing tool. I believe Facebook created Jest. That's, if I remember correctly, I think they did. Enzyme is created by a different people created it, so not Facebook, but it is recommended by Facebook for testing React. So Enzyme makes testing a bit easier, and it can work with different things. So you don't have to use it with Jest. You can use it for different things. Facebook. All right, cool. Nikki says Enzyme is Airbnb. Awesome, thank you, Nikki. That is correct. I do remember seeing that. I was on their GitHub repo yesterday. All right, so you can use Enzyme with a lot of different testing frameworks. So we're going to use it with Jest today, but it's not just Jest. So I really am not familiar enough with it to tell you all the details about why you want to use Enzyme. I read and watched videos about it yesterday, but I didn't retain everything. So I'll just take you through this basic one first. So we describe, right, so we're saying index, so the component index, which is this whole component, right? So index should render, right? It should render, right? We have our little arrow functions here. If you're not familiar with arrow functions, like, it's just pretty much like a regular function. For our purposes right now, it's pretty much like a regular function. So if you see this weird arrow thing, just think somebody's putting function, making a new function. So it should render, what's this, const wrapper, render index, expect wrapper. I didn't write this test. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. So what does this mean? Are we just rendering? It renders a component called index? Are they really that basic? So I guess we're just testing whether or not it renders, period. Like, does this component render at all? So I mean, this is the most basic of tests. We need more than this. So we're going to try to pick some piece of this and add it. Now, and we have pieces like this, like hero, that's its own component. Like, we can write a separate test for that component. So when I'm talking about a piece, I don't mean a separate component. I mean, you know, something within here that's not within its own component, which it looks like everything else is in its own component. Okay. And do we have any special stuff going on? No, we don't, do we? Wow. Alright, so we do need to make sure, I guess, that some things are rendering, right? Nilesh says, how about using shallow instead of pure render? Yeah, you know what? I was wondering the same thing. If we can just use shallow render, I don't see why we need to use regular render here. Everything that I saw, it was saying to use the shallow render. So let's try that out. Shallow. Okay, it's not used. So render, do we have to replace this with shallow then? Okay, Niki says then expect it with to match snapshot. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we've got a lot of chat about all the differences now in the live chat, so I may wait and hold off and go over that after our 25 minutes here, which it may not be a bad idea to bring up the basic documentation for this as well. So let me get that. I'm going to get that ready on my other screen, and then if I think it'll be useful, I'll pull it over and share it with you all as well. And I have a bunch of windows open with Jest and Enzyme resources on my laptop. So I'm currently on my iMac, so I don't have any of the same stuff open. Now's a great time to mention that this is me doing my regular work, and I'm totally don't prepare things ahead of time because I want you all to see my mistakes too. So that also means that I frequently don't have the links ready. All right, so I do have something useful. So this is cool. Right away, it says shallow rendering renders only the component itself without its children. So if you change something in a child component, it won't change the shallow output of your component. Or a bug introduced to a child component won't break your component's test. It also doesn't require the DOM. Okay, so that's the difference, which is actually pretty good. I think that I like that, right? Because if there's an error in a child component, it doesn't. I don't. Assuming that I have full coverage of all the components, I'd rather just have that child component fail the test and not the main component anyway. So that makes a lot of sense. But like this with shallow rendering. Let's see. Here's the difference. Okay. Icon component. Okay, cool. So it doesn't actually render out the components. This is awesome. So this is what I kind of like the basic test that we can do are, let's look at all the components that are supposed to be on the index page, and let's make sure that they're actually there. All right, so here's some snapshot testing. Oh, cool. Here's some cool stuff. Why Jest? Why Enzyme? Let me just paste this link in there because I'm not going to read through a page on the stream. But I will put the link in there. So that'll answer a lot of the questions that I just saw in the live chat about why would we use Jest and Enzyme. Oh, and it even has, you know, how do you set it up? Now, we already have it set up in the project, so I'm not going to go over that. And someone else set that up, so I'm definitely not the one to tell you how to set it up. There we are. So now let's just write some basic tests. And so this is for most non-interactive components. Our index page realistically is pretty non-interactive. We don't have anything going on that responds to user input, at least not yet. Oops. Nicola says the link's a 404. Try manually copying and pasting the link. There's something weird that happens with links in the YouTube chat. Okay. Select wrapper to match snapshot. Interesting. All right. I think I'm going to move this over to the other screen so I can go back to the code and still see this. So at least on this page, on our index page, I don't think we'll need to test events, but at some point we're going to want to test events like on click and things like that. So let's see if we should change the way we're doing this. And I just want to make sure my syntax is correct. Also, I'm going to make sure these aren't out of date where I'm getting the syntax from. Okay, so we're describing index, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now okay, you know what, I didn't need to change render here. So the things that are inside these are just what should happen. Index should render, and so we want to shallow render check for index, and we've named it as const wrapper, and we're expecting wrapper. Okay, so now let's do another test. I believe we can do multiple tests. Right? Whoops, let me make sure I don't lose track of It should shallow. Nikki says it should shallow. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, sorry about that. I just did my, control. I did like my multiple cursors here and did them both at once, and not exactly what I needed to do. Okay, and if we're gonna do snapshots, I guess the first thing we should do is just see, like, have our changes so far messed up anything, right? Since I'm learning this along with you all, let's go incrementally, and we can just run tests. I forget what the command is for just running the unit test. I think it's just unit, actually. Yeah, let's just try that. So let's go unit. Yay, unit tests. Hey, cool. All right, so the test did pass, so we haven't messed up anything too badly, which is awesome. All right, cool. Nikki, thank you for putting that in there. That's what I was just reading that on my other screen and wondering, like, should we do that? So we're not going to just expect wrapper. We want to expect it to match snapshot. Okay. So we want to do that, and then yeah, I believe that we can just go down through here and make sure and have to confirm it in the terminal. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, let's. So we should get a snapshot. Yeah, we get a snapshot file now. So you can see now we have the snapshot. Extension snap files. Yeah, I want help with snap files, snapshot tools. Anybody use this? Let's try it. I want pretty colors on my snapshot. Do we need to reload? All right, reload. Remove W from wrapper or make the other one capital. Later. Okay. All right. Let's see where snapshot is. Okay, now we have pretty colors. Wow. That creates quite a bit. Wow. All right then. Okay, so Nikki says, oh, you're getting all that extra JSON in your snapshots. Yes. Yes, I am. It looks like we can add something else in that might help with that. I mean, I guess this should work for now. So I'm not going to add anything if this is working for now, but Nikki, I guess yeah, we can make this. Nikki was saying we should make this lowercase w. I'm cool with that. All right, so let's add some stuff in here just to see if we can do it, and if it breaks, then we know we can't do it. So I want to add another test in here, and we want to describe, let's see, hero. Hero, and let's see, corresponding snapshot doesn't exist. Yeah. I'm not. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll down and see how they did this. They don't really have examples in what I'm looking at now of doing multiple tests all at once. And it looks like yeah, isn't that terrible when your tutorials all are doing different things? Okay. All right, cool. Actually, we also have some other stuff here. So let me grab this. So this another tutorial I get is recommending that we test if it's even defined. That makes sense. Expect index to be defined. Wonderful. So here's how we can do multiple tests on index. We can also we could check other stuff with it, but I think we're going to be okay for right now. All right, so I want to see if this will work. Describe here. Actually, no, I don't think that'll be it. I think it would be up here. Describe index. It should. Render. Let me go back to our. I want to go back to the snapshot. I want to see how this looks in the snapshot. I know we had a bunch of info, but there's got to be somewhere where it actually we can see it. Maybe. Index render 1. Oops. Okay, Niki's looking up the thing that that removes a bunch of the JSON. That's cool. Looks like this is pulling in a lot of other stuff. Where's my actual? Yeah, I don't need all that. Oh well. How about what about this, Niki? Does this look familiar? Okay. Alright, cool. Let's see. I don't even know if I have this package. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm not sure what was actually... Alright, cool. Yay, we finally got a broken thing. Cool. Alright, let's just get it then. Let me know what you all think about streams like this, where I don't really know what I'm doing either, and we work through it together. I don't know. I kind of think there's some value in showing the process of me, like as a developer, working through something new. But if you think this is just kind of more of a waste of your time because we're just kind of working through it, then let me know. I'll try to only stream about things that I'm more comfortable doing and have more experience with. Or if you think there's some value in this, I'll try to do this, occasionally as well. All right, so let's see if this works. Whoa, still not working. Let's see. Wow, so we got a bunch of stuff. This gigantic file all in here. Oh, okay. That's why. It's all the stuff from the theme provider. Oh, John says, watching on a tablet with 5% battery left. Well, just preemptively, since your tablet's going to die, see you. Thanks for watching. All right, what did it say to run? Run your unit U. Interesting. Okay, cool. So let's see what we get now after we did that. Yarn unit U to update our stuff. All right, we're still getting a ton of stuff because that's coming in with a theme provider component. And then at the bottom we have, what is this, with styles, index page, okay. All right then. Alright, I am at the end of my Pomodoro session, so let's go 5 minutes. I'm going to come back to the chat and answer as many questions as I can. Wow, there's a lot in the chat already. Let's see. Boy says, I'm excited about this. Awesome. Awesome. Well, so far I don't know how good I've been doing, but hopefully you're still excited. I'm just scrolling through trying to find things I haven't already answered. Oh, World says, testing always looked like a waste of time for me. I don't know. I mean, honestly, It seems like it would just take a lot longer. I'm trying to trust and believe everything that I've read and heard about testing, that in the long run it saves you time because there'll be less to fix. So that's what I'm going with. One dev asked if I use Pomodoro on a daily basis. I do. I use Pomodoro whenever I'm coding, and just to break things up and to help me estimate how long things will take. Like, I keep track of how many Pomodoro sessions certain activities take, and then I can go back and look through that and get a better estimate of how long future projects will take. Oh, excuse me. Sorry for the yawn. I should drink more coffee. Kama asks, what's your VS Code / linting setup like? And Nikki says ESLint and prettier. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. I have a lot of other stuff with VS Code. I should do a video on that because I do get that question occasionally. All right, Nilesh says, what does enzyme to Json actually do? Okay, and Nikki says, check out the snapshot after you run the test to see the difference. So it might have been hard to catch with all that extra stuff in there, but hopefully you could see at the bottom at least that now we have, like, it looks like JSX, right? Before we had I don't know, was it objects, or I mean we had some JavaScript stuff going on in there before, but it definitely wasn't JSX. This is a lot easier to read. I mean, unfortunately we still have all this stuff, but now we can, hopefully on some other components we won't have all that stuff, and it'll be way more obvious what we see in the test. Carlos says, I love it. Actually, it's better because we learn as you learn. We see even your train of thought on the process. Okay, cool. So that was in response to my question about, like, do you all like whenever I come into a stream not really knowing what's going on and we learn as we go? Let's see. Brian says, I like it because it makes me feel better about myself when I struggle. I never get to see someone actually figuring something out. It's always smooth sailing in videos. All right, cool. Yeah, that was one of the things when I originally started streaming that I thought too. Is like, hey, there are a lot of other people doing really good videos, and it is smooth sailing all the time. Like, why don't I do videos where I do make mistakes and I do try to learn? It would be cool for people to see that. Raul says, can I become like you someday? Trying to convince my parents, but all they need is to get me all they want is to get you a degree. Raul, I would say the best thing you could do right now to try to convince your parents is just get as good as you can at being a developer. And if you could take on side projects, I don't know how old you are, but if you can, or what the laws are like where you're from, but in the United States, you can start taking on side projects and working, as a teenager. So that might be one way to prove that this is realistic, career-wise. But if your parents want you to get a degree and you can get a scholarship, or your parents will pay for it, I definitely think you should still try for the degree. Like, keep working and getting better with coding, but you really can't pass up the opportunity for a free or a really discounted degree. Now, if you're looking at having to pay for the whole degree yourself, then it's not such a good deal then. I mean, it kind of depends on, your country and the situation you're in, but if I had to choose all over again and I had to pay for the school myself, I was lucky and had scholarships. I might just choose to become a developer and work full-time as a developer without the degree. I couldn't have got this job, but I certainly still could have got all my freelance clients that I had before I got this job. So anyway, but that's just general advice. So I don't know all your particular circumstances. So you have to take that into account. All right, so my timer went off, but I only have a few more things in the chat. So let me just get to these last few things before we start up again. Let's see. Nikki says, for that plugin to work, you need to add a jestconfig.json file. Okay, cool. Good to know. Patrick, hey, that's my uncle. Hey, Uncle Pat, how's it going? I'm glad that you could watch. Patrick says, and the comments in the chat are great. Awesome. Nikki says, oh, Harshit probably set up the jest config inside your package JSON. Yes, I do believe. Okay, so Raul is saying, I'm from India. Let me know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly as well. I don't have any resources, but very interested in coding. All right, well, I don't know exactly how it is in India, but in the United States, university costs a lot of money for most schools. Some schools are more affordable, but it does cost a lot of money. So it's almost at the point right now for universities that if you can't get some type of financial help, it's going to take you a really, really long time to pay back the loans that you have to take out. So if you want to go into a tech-related field where you don't really need a degree to get a job, it doesn't make sense to spend all that money. So if that's really what you really want to do, I would say, again, try to get as good as you can and get actual paying jobs to prove to your parents that you can really make money doing this. That might be the best way. Best way to go about it. My wife's calling me. Let me tell her I'm doing a live stream. Hello?
Hey.
Hey, I'm doing a live stream.
Oh.
You're on YouTube.
Sorry.
Is it an emergency?
No, I would have called you 3 times. So.
Okay. You want me to call you when I'm done with the stream?
Yep.
Alright. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Cool. Oh, my Uncle Pat's at the Denver airport watching? That's cool that the Wi-Fi at the airport is good enough to watch. Alright, so I'm getting a lot more questions now, so I'm going to hold off on these questions until after this next Pomodoro cycle. So let's get started again. I am going to check quickly because Niki's putting some stuff in the chat about how to set this up. All right, we need to also add a polyfill to the setup files. Okay, well let's go to our package JSON. Where is it at? I thought we opened it up, and now it's not here. I need to close some of this out. It's way too much. All right. Wow. I didn't realize I had so much open. Oh, and there it is. There's my package JSON. I thought I had it open. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, so here's our jest. Startup files. Set of files. Shim.js. What's a shim file? Okay, we do have that polyfill already there. So, yeah, so I guess Harshit must have already set all that up. Even has the adapter for React 16, which is awesome. Okay, cool. So maybe we're all good to go then. All right, so let's see. I want to try. I really want to try to do a component that does something more than the index. Should we do the hero or text section? Let's just do this text section because we don't have anything for that yet. So this will be like fresh test, and we'll try it out. So let me just import. No, I want to use what we just did, index test. So let me copy and paste this into a new file. Folder, new file. And what were we naming these? So this will be text section.test.js. Okay. There we are. So it's not pages index. This is going to be components / text section, and okay, so in these ones we can at least have text section, right? Oops, and I forgot this part. Okay, so far we haven't done anything different. We're just bringing in what we already had, and we just changed it to be text section instead of index. But now we can test. Well, let's save it and just verify that we haven't messed anything up so far, and then we can start to test things like, does it, if we pass it this prop, does it actually display that, right? Or any of these props. So we can go through each prop, give it some data, some test data, and then make sure that it actually does what we want it to do with that test data. Does that make sense? Sorry, I just got distracted by a long email chain that my boss is CCing me on. Okay. I'll just let him know. I'll make the update. Okay. So there's an update on a site that didn't get made that's kind of important that evidently someone else was supposed to make. So I'm just going to do it before I leave because honestly it doesn't really matter who was supposed to do it. It needs to be done, and I can probably do it faster than anybody else at this point. That's not bragging. It's just like I built the site, so I can update it faster. Okay, so did I run this test? I didn't. That was what I was going to do. Let's run the test. Cool. All right, so you can see now we should have the text section. Let's see what we get. All right, so here's what it rendered out. So text section. And let's see, object, hero button, text section, inner container, text section, inverted button, text section. Interesting. Actually, you know what, we probably should check the component as well. That would be useful. So let's open up that text section component. Text section. There we are. Okay, so we can see. Here's what it has. All right, so Interesting. I had assumed that these were some of the things that were rendered, like some of the components inside child components, but text section 1. Interesting. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what all this is. Maybe when we start adding some more tests and changing things, we will find out. I'll double check to see if any of you let me know what happened. Okay. All right, so let's write another test within that file. So let's just take, so we have it, it should render. I don't want to, this one doesn't have any events, so we're not going to test events for this one. We may not get to events today. We might have to do, we might do another stream about testing that'll be a little bit more informative because we'll have more practice with it. But we should, I'm trying to find the, trying to find an example of how to add props. Oh, okay, I remember now. All right, let's go. All right, so it should render text, and let's say, so we're going to do the text section, and let's say, what are our props? Let's go back to index so I can see the props. So let's say text equals, and then we could just give it some text. Right? Maybe. Why am I getting this? Multiple spaces. Okay. Let's see. I'm not sure if this is all I need, but let's see. Yeah, let's see what happens. So save it, and then let's run some tests. Now we'll probably get that warning that something changed. Did we? No, we didn't. Okay, cool. Maybe because it didn't change, maybe just because we added things. There we are. Did it? Test section, classes. It should render text. Text. No, actually that's not what we wanted. I wanted it to actually render that. Okay. Yeah, I wanted it to show here like actual text inside of this component. I guess I'm doing it wrong. You know what, let me go. I'm looking up all these tutorials when I should just look up the documentation. So if you want to follow along, I'm going to the official Enzyme Repository on GitHub. So if you just type in Enzyme GitHub, it should be the first thing that comes up in a Google search. So I am going to click on, there's a bunch of options, and one of them is using Enzyme with Jest. I'm going to open that in a new tab for now, because the first thing in the docs is basic usage shallow rendering. So I'm going to look at what's going on there, just to make sure my I guess syntax is correct. So let's render text. So I noticed that this is the style they're using. When should render text when passed in, which actually is correct, because it shouldn't render any. Obviously, it shouldn't render text if no text is passed. Why are we calling this wrapper? Okay, it looks like wrapper is just the default name that's used throughout, so that makes sense. I was kind of wondering about that. And let's see. Let's see. So we wanted to say, okay, text section, text test. If we do have text, it's not going to render right in the middle, right? It's going to render inside of a div. Classes section test. Section text. Okay, so what will happen is it'll render typography. So, all right, let me see. Not sure if this is the right way to do it, but let's try it out. Text section here, but then within this, we're gonna write typography. I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about this one. I think I'm messing it up. Yeah, let me check this. Am I? Yeah, there's no way that's right. Let's see. All right, let me take this out for now and start again. Okay. Inspect. Let's see. Okay. I may have to go to the full documentation. Okay, cool. Yeah, Brian, I think that's a good idea. I was just looking at that part of the documentation. Let's try that out. yeah, let's try it out and see what happens. I'm a little bit worried about it because the text is it's gonna be within the typography component, so I'm not exactly sure how this will render, but I think it's worth a try to see, you know, what's gonna happen. Oh, you know what? Shoot, we want it to match the snapshot. We don't want it to contain unique, right? That's what we want. All right, maybe I ought to go to the one that's specific for using Jest with Enzyme. Maybe that'll be more helpful. All right, here's an example test. Alright, so I'm going to copy this into the live chat because it'll be easier to just go right there instead of me trying to describe how I got there. But this is the example test if you're using Jest with Enzyme. So let's see what they're saying here. Oh, okay. So we can do different. This is good to know. So we can do different things within the same one. So we don't just have to do shallow or just render mount. So that's good to know. Okay. And I'm also going to check out the shallow rendering API. All right, and I just realized the example I was looking at before when I was trying to put a lot of stuff in here it wasn't an example for passing props. Oops. It was for passing children. Oops. So it made sense for that, but not exactly for props. Let's All right. I'm not finding the answers that I want for this. All right, so let me go. So I tried. I'm just gonna say this out loud, somewhat for myself, but also for you all, just to know what's going on in my head. So the goal is to make sure that if we pass in a prop, it actually gets rendered properly. And so we tried to just put in text section and pass in a prop like we normally would, expecting that it would do something here. But what we found is that we just get back text section, and then down here it just has the prop. We don't actually see it rendered anywhere. This is kind of odd, I guess. Some of the things that are odd to me are we don't get anything rendering inside here. Whereas I expected that we would get the child components, not fully rendered, but that the child components would be at least they would show up. So that's where I'm at, basically is why is it not showing up, and what do I need to do to have that show up and test that? So let me show you. All right, so obviously this is what we have, right? Exports and then text section, right? But here's what I'm looking at as to, maybe what it should be. So you can see here they have exports, so they have the component as link, but then under exports it has an actual A tag with the href that they passed in and the title here. So you could see, like, right here they passed in title as a prop, they passed in mock URL as a prop, and we basically have the same. We have all this as the same stuff, right? Let's match snapshot. So I mean, maybe I should compare. Maybe I don't have all the same syntax here and the same stuff. Maybe that's the problem. So maybe I shouldn't. What if we don't? It looks like this is different. So describe text section and text section to be defined. Okay, let's try that out now. That, I think, is the only difference that I noticed. So let's run this again. Let's see. Okay, so let's run that like we needed to before. There we are. Okay, now let's check what we have. Text section, text, same thing, right? It's still the same. Actually, did we get it? No, we didn't get anything, right? So we have 3 of these statements. No, the first one, we're not actually doing anything with the snapshot. So this one and this one are giving us snapshots. And I just want to just double check that we are getting the right one here. And this is what we're passing in, correct? Text. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. All right, so my timer went off again. So that was our second Pomodoro session. I think I want to end now. I mean, partly because I've already put in overtime today, so I don't really need to be here anymore. But But also, I mean, at this point, I think the best thing for me to do would be to do some more research, maybe a tutorial, because I'm number one, a little afraid that I'm mixing some old techniques and some new techniques, because the tutorials that I have, the documentation I have right now, some of it's old, and then yeah, I kind of feel like I've gotten to a place where I don't have many more ideas left, so I need to get back to the research. So that'll be what I do between now and the next time we come back to this, which will probably be after Easter. So I said I'm probably going to do a stream from home tomorrow working with that brain-computer interface. So it'll be unrelated to this. And then I'm off on Monday. And then, so next Tuesday will probably be the next time I stream. So it should be a while. It'll give me a lot of time to research, I guess. I mean, technically I'm off tomorrow too, so I don't really have to do the research. So maybe I'll research on Tuesday morning before I stream. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is go back through the rest of the comments and answer any questions that you have, read out some relevant comments. Okay, Nikki says do a push. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, so if any of you want to check out what was done, test things out, mess around, feel free. I'm about to push this to the GitHub repo. The link's in the description. Everything in the repo is completely, open for you all to use for whatever you want. I mean, excluding obviously like the Franciscan logo and stuff like that. Can't use that. All right, I'm just double checking to make sure that the things that changed are actually what we expect to change. And now we'll do a Git Add to add everything. And we're going to do yarn CM. And that's a little tool we have running on top of the normal Git thing just to help us make a nice commit message. Otherwise, you just want to type in git commit and add the M flag and then put your message. So we're going to make this a test. So this is going to say update, we should say add tests for index.js and text section.js. Okay, no breaking changes. I don't think we have any issues for that. So it's going to run through. Hopefully it can pass the test. Yep, so it passes the test. The cool thing about unit testing too is it's very fast compared to end-to-end testing, because end-to-end testing actually opens up at least the way we're doing it, opens up a headless browser and it has to wait for the DOM to load. The DOM, in comparison to just plain JavaScript, is very slow. So we should probably write way more unit tests than we do end-to-end tests. If for no other reason, there are other reasons, but one of the reasons would be if we wrote a ton of end-to-end tests, testing would take forever. But if we do unit tests, you can see, look, all 4 of our tests passed in just over 2 seconds. Not really, not really that long to wait. All right, so now I'm going to do a git push. And all of this code is now available on GitHub. Let me scroll up a bit, try to find where I left off, and answer questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the live chat. And I just now realized that I have no music playing in my headphones this entire time. I've been wearing them, and nothing's been in them. And I feel silly. I guess I should turn music on then. Alright, now there's music. Alright, Brian says, I'm looking into a startup that will teach the computer science stuff that actually matters, plus coding. It would be about 9 months to a year, kind of like college meets boot camp. Interesting. I had an idea for something kind of like that here at the university that I work for. Basically, to do it, you wouldn't get a degree for it, but that would be good because we could speed up the process of getting it here and not have to worry about accreditation and all the red tape that comes with adding new programs. but we would basically just give, a certificate. So it'd be somewhat like a boot camp, but we would have different tracks. So if you wanted to learn about like web development, you could do that. If we could offer some of the newer, exciting things. So if you want to learn about machine learning, you could do that. VR, AR, you could do that. And it would be something that the computer science students could do, like let's say in the summertime, to get better skills. It would be project-based. They could put on their resume. Or other people who aren't interested in a degree could still come. I'm kind of thinking it would be online, though, so they wouldn't necessarily have to come here, because then we'd have to figure out all about like housing and stuff like that. So just to try to keep it like as bare bones as possible and it's easy to start, it would be online to start. But anyway, I've only talked to a few people about it so far. The people that I have talked to here about it have said it was a good idea. I just need to get it. I need to be able to talk to people high enough up so that it can actually happen. But anyway, so Brian, I really like your idea. I think that's a cool idea, because I have, so people who do the boot camps sometimes lack some knowledge that a computer science student would have gotten, but it's not really, it doesn't really make financial sense for boot camp people who've come out and potentially have gotten jobs already to go back and get a computer science degree. But if they could get some of that in a boot camp format, that would make a lot more sense. I like that idea. Carlos says, I honestly have no idea what we are doing with these tests, but I think it's great to be doing testing. I used to do it with Rails, but you definitely didn't get that much info on the test. Cool. Well, hopefully, Carlos, I don't know what I'm doing with these tests either, so we're in the same boat. Just trying to learn as we go along. All right, so here's some more advice. So Raul was talking about, advice to. I'm sorry, not Raul. This is a different question. Kemma asked, do you have any advice for novice freelancers? So Pat says, there are a lot of free courses and training sessions on the web. Build as many web pages as possible. That training is valuable. Yeah, definitely. That's how I am doing what I'm doing. I would say at least 90% of what I did training-wise was all free resources. Yakub says, how to pass variable from routes to handlebars. Anyone, I need to display a number of documents in my MongoDB. I haven't used handlebars in, I don't know, like 2 years at least. So I don't remember offhand. I'm sorry. If anybody else is familiar with using handlebars with MongoDB, please, add a comment in to help out Yakub. Sorry, I never used handlebars that much, and it has been a long time. Raul says, currently after my high school, I'm taking a preparation for entrance, as last time I was unable to qualify. But this time, I hope for everything's go in a good way. Yeah, well, good luck with that. I hope it goes well for you, too. Brian says, does anyone think the complete React guide on Udemy is any good, or any books in particular? I haven't done the complete React guide on Udemy, so I can't really... Actually, I've heard it pronounced Udemy. Have I been pronouncing it wrong the whole time? Is it Udemy? Or that makes... I guess that sounds better, Udemy. I don't know. Let me know how you all pronounce it. Udemy or Udemy. It doesn't really matter. You all know what I'm talking about either way, I guess. Yeah, so I don't know, because I don't have any experience with that. I do know that the React Nano Degree program with Udacity was good. I did go through that. It was good. If you're already experienced, though, with React and Redux, and maybe have some experience with React Native, you might not learn as much from it. But if you don't have that much experience with Redux and React Native, then you could definitely learn a lot from the course. Let's see. Oh, okay, so Carlos says that that's a good one. Doing that one too. Okay, cool. Brian says, I've read The Road to Learn React. Carlos says, he explains everything. It's easy for him to understand. Okay, so I guess the complete React guide is a good resource then. Raul says, in India, every parent wants their child to get one of the government college and do just a job, and they don't understand the internet at all. This is, as you reply to my comments, I'm very happy. Well, I'm glad you're happy about that. Hopefully my advice is good for you. Like I said, with me not understanding the culture and the economics and educational system in India, I feel like I can't give you really good advice, really specific advice, just kind of general stuff from my perspective. So just take that into consideration when you're thinking about the advice that I gave you. Carlos says, I had the idea, maybe it's incorrect, but I thought that IT or anything computer was taught in a lot of Indian schools. It says, I've seen very good programmers from India. Pat says, there is a lot of good programming going on in Bangalore. Cool. Yeah, actually, I just kind of as a side note, anecdotal, most of my viewers are from the United States, but in a close second, I get a lot of viewers from India as well. So definitely a lot of programmers, or a lot of people interested in programming watching from India. Vazguen says, hello from Spain. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Hey, John's back. Got a power cord. Okay. Let's see. Aditya says, am I the only noob here? No way. I'm a noob too. So don't worry about it. And feel free to ask as many questions as you want. Aditya says, anyway, what is he doing now? We were trying to figure out how to do unit testing with some tools called Enzyme and Jest. So we made some progress, and then kind of got caught up when we were trying to test out passing props in. So if we do another stream about this, which we probably will, that's where we'll pick up, and then the next step would be testing actions. So like simulating user actions and testing what happens. So, what happens when you click on a button and things like that. Let's see, and oops. Brian says, dude, I'm a noob too, so don't feel like you're the only noob. We all are learning here. Yeah, for sure. We're all learning. Everybody that's coding, no matter how many years they've been at it, everybody still needs to learn. Things are always changing. There's always more to learn. Pat says, once you have a basic understanding of object-oriented coding, the rest is just practical experience. Languages change fast and new ones come out every year. Yeah, for sure. That's it. I mean, you get the fundamentals down and the basics, then you can move from different languages. And especially, I know like in React land, we do more of like functional programming, but realistically, object-oriented is important to know. I've been doing some work with Solidity, which is a language to build blockchain contracts on the Ethereum blockchain, and it's all object-oriented. The syntax is very similar to JavaScript, but I was using a strongly typed version of Solidity called Solidity X. So it's definitely like, imagine like object-oriented JavaScript, like strongly typed. So that's kind of what it's like. But I started learning JavaScript before like the whole functional programming thing was really, coming up. So when I started learning, it was like learn object-oriented, stuff with JavaScript style. I know JavaScript's not really an object-oriented language, but people were kind of using it like it was. So that experience helped me to be able to pick up and learn Solidity really quickly and know what was going on. So anyway, so I think there's still value in learning object-oriented stuff. It'll help you in a lot of other things, even though you wouldn't necessarily need it for React. It still could help. So it may not be like I have to learn it right away. You could probably learn it on the side, but it's still good. Carlos says, noob here also. Actually, I'm a clinical psychologist. Go figure. So I guess it's noober than a noob. Cool. That's cool. You're a clinical psychologist. I have my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law are both in the field, and I have an uncle that's also in that field. I guess, yeah. What are they, counselors? Yeah. So, and I think I have a cousin as well. I have a lot of people that I know in that field. So very important field. Let's see. Patrick says, do you ever write performance tests? I haven't yet, but now that you say that, that sounds like a really good idea. Maybe I'll have to look that up and see how to do that with what I'm working with now. Krishna says, may I know the university name? Sure, it's Franciscan University of Steubenville. So, I mean, that's... If you go to the GitHub repo for this project, it's linked below. You'll see the name of the university. It's used throughout, some of the places in the site. So you can get more info if you want. It's a small university in Ohio, in the United States. Olsa says, hey, Jesse, how's it going? Not too bad. Kind of struggled through this stream, but we got some stuff done. Learned a lot. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of the live chat, and I think I'm going to finish things up here, and I'll probably see you tomorrow. Hopefully things will work out enough that we can get a decent stream with this brain-computer interface stuff. I'm very, very new to it. Alex Castillo is going to be helping out with that, and he's much more experienced. He's a developer for Netflix. But in his spare time, he works on brain-computer interfaces, especially using JavaScript with them. So hopefully that'll go well tomorrow, and then we'll come back to this project after the Easter break. If I don't see you and you're celebrating Easter this weekend, have a happy Easter. And Brian says, don't forget to call your wife. Thank you, because I did forget. Thank you so much. You just saved me a lot of trouble. Thank you. Okay. All right, cool. So I'll see y'all maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. Until then, have a great day or a great weekend and a great holiday.